Are you a woman standing at a crossroads, eager for change? It's time to connect with your authentic and empowered self at Boss Leap. Join Dr. Sylvia Morris and Dr. Angela Walker in this empowering community where real-life stories of courageous and talented women inspire and motivate. Engage in honest conversations that foster well-being, drawing from our own journeys. Let us guide you toward profound growth and transformation in both your personal and professional life. Here are your hosts, Dr. Sylvia Morris and Dr. Angela Walker.
Welcome back to Boss Leap. My name is Dr. Sylvia Morris, and I'm here with my lovely co-host, Dr. Angela Walker. Today, we are having an awesome conversation with Vee Caldwell. Vee started her cosmetology career at just 13, became an instructor at 21, and today she's an entrepreneur, educator, and Trichology practitioner. She's an author of the upcoming book, Girlhood Math, Predicting the Woman You're Becoming. Vee is here to share her journey of resilience, reinvention, and empowering young women to own their future. Before we start our conversation with Vee Caldwell, we are going to talk about a mental health day. Angela, tell us your ideal mental health day, or maybe when you feel like you need a mental health day.
So I can probably tell you the sick days that I've taken in my life.
We don't take sick days.
Well, they have been called sick days, but they were essentially mental health, like the times in which you were just really, I'll say, at the end of my rope. Not that I haven't had actual, a sick day for physical illness, but in our business, when we call out sick, is not just obviously us that's affected, but it's the patients that may be scheduled that day, that someone else that's going to have to, work the extra load because you're not there. So it's very rare that we actually, will take a day off that wasn't already scheduled, like a vacation day or PTO day. So it has to usually be a lot, but I think there is value in recognizing when you need that mental health day, because technically, if you're at that point where you're kind of at the end of your rope mentally, whether it's emotional or just all of the baggage that you've been carrying around, you're not going to be effective anyway. So I don't know that answers your question in terms of what it looks like for me. What it has looked like is probably definitely starting off with a cup of tea, going outside, getting some fresh air, and it might be laying in the little Sebby time for sure. Any of the doggies that I've had in my life have always been involved in mental health day, and really just not having to think about a whole lot. And I think that there are times where we just have to take that for ourselves. But yeah, I don't know that I have anything extraordinary to add other than just taking the time for myself. And hopefully it's a time where it's quiet in the house, where I don't have to share the time, but I can do whatever I want. Absolutely. How about you?
It's funny when you talked about the number of sick days that you kind of taken off. And I think about during residency, I had diarrhea and vomiting. Those are the reasons why you can't come to work, right?
Right.
Because you cannot round FC patients if you have diarrhea or vomiting. Yes. So one day every year during residency, so that would be 3 days. And probably it was during the month of March. Those were always my toughest months in Seattle, if I'm being quite frank. But when I think about during my work career, when I've been working clinically, the only time that I really had mental health days is honestly when my father died, where I was intentional about, I was like, look, I can't come to work, y'all. So I'm going to be off for the next 6 weeks. I don't really care what happens to the schedule. I don't care who comes to work, who doesn't come to work. I just know I cannot mentally be there for the patients. But I think it says a lot about our industry, our profession, that we take care of people, but it is hard for us to take time off and have mental health days.
Yeah.
And I hope that in the future, we can kind of have a much more in-depth conversation about this, because I think our listeners would want to hear more on this topic.
Agreed. Well, I'll say several things. Number one, thank you for your transparency, because saying vomiting and diarrhea goes along with our transparency in this entire episode. Yeah. But I think the point of just mentioning Mental Health Day is the fact that we usually don't say it, because if you even mention that, then for the way it's perceived by others, it's a weakness.
Are you?
Right?
Yes, exactly. You can't toughen up and push through. We're always pushing through, being strong.
So I think we have to normalize those points where sometimes physically we just can't make it, but sometimes mentally we just can't make it. And that your PTO time or vacation time is time that you sometimes need to take for your mental health. So, and
when I think of athletes,
yes.
Yeah. One more point. When I think of athletes, Naomi Osaka comes to mind.
Yes.
When she was like, y'all, I need a break. That's not what she said or how she said it. But certainly she took a break. And I think it has become much more acceptable now. Now, granted, she's an entire entity and corporation to herself.
Yeah.
But I imagine even at that point, there is enormous pressure to keep going.
Right.
And
when you're at the top, you don't stop.
Yes. Right. You keep pushing, pedal to the metal, baby.
Yeah. Yeah. So Vee reminded us of that. But she gave us so much more content and things to admire about her, but also things to think about. And we hope that you will enjoy what she had to say as much as we did. And without further ado, we give you Vee Caldwell.
Welcome back to Boss Sleep. My name is Dr. Sylvia Morris, and I'm here with my co-host, Dr. Angela Walker. And today we have an awesome, awesome guest. Today we welcome to Boss Sleep, Vee Caldwell. Welcome, Vee.
Good morning, everyone.
Hey. Hello. So we've heard so many wonderful things about you and cannot wait for the listeners to hear about your journey. But I want to roll back to early years, because I understand that you started your cosmetology career at age 13.
Yes.
And became an instructor by age 21. But I get that part. I get the entrepreneurial spirit at an early age. But if you could just take us back to those early years, what sparked your passion for hair and education, how you became you?
Okay. So I don't know if you guys remember hair back in the day, in hair salons, like in the 90s and the early 2000s. Like it just had a different feeling and vibe. Going into it, I'm from Atlanta. So going to a hair salon in Decatur, Georgia.
Ooh, Decatur, where it's great.
Of all the hair products. And to me, it was just a different art and skill and community and women networking and talking. Like the whole industry just had a different feeling. And I fell in love with it. I fell in love with Updo's, the Black Sophisticates hair magazines, Hype Hair magazines. So
Hype Hair.
I forgot about Hype Hair. Yes.
It was an art form that I just fell in love with, and just being in there, I just wanted to be around the environment. So for me, Christmas was mannequin heads and magazines. That's all I wanted.
So was someone in your family in the hair salon business or a hairstylist?
I am the only person in my entire family that does hair. So you can imagine how that goes.
You're very important and very popular.
Yes.
Oh, that is fascinating. So that's interesting. You've come a long way. And I can understand if you started at such an early age, how you could fall into instructing others. And particularly with just this brief, episode of you talking about your passion. So I understand passing that on. Was there someone in your life, though, at that early age that made an impression on you, that took you under their wing or told you this is what you need to do?
Absolutely. So we were close family friends with two different salon owners, June Griffin and Cheryl Baptiste. They own hair salons in different parts in Atlanta, and they knew I had a love for the industry. So they would always let me come in and work under them. And I was the assistant in the hair salon from 13 all on up.
So you were like a shampoo girl initially.
Yes.
Shampoo, braids, and then I just started, evolving into everything. And I would watch. All I needed to do was see somebody do something one time, and I got it.
Really?
So just
That's
being
a skill.
with them in their element.
Yeah,
that is awesome.
Definitely. So you've worn so many hats. You're an entrepreneur, you're a hairstylist, you're an educator, soon to be author, and we're going to get to that. Yeah. But how have all of these hats sort of shaped the woman that you are today?
Oh my gosh. So I will say definitely my personal life pushed me into some of the roles. So I am a young mother. So of course I started the hair industry very young, but I also had kids very young. So I had my first child at 17, but I'm always ambitious and I'm always about my business, so to speak. So that pushed me to get my license at an early age. And then by the time I had my second daughter, I'm like, okay, I don't have the freedom to be in a hair salon all hours of the night. I have to choose something that's more stable, but I want to remain in the industry. So that's when education came in. And I was naturally always teaching people, okay, this is how you do this is how you do that. But I'm like, what, for stability, let me conform to corporate education, but still stay in the industry that I love. So that's how educator at 21. I had my second daughter at 21. That's how that came into the picture. And then from there.
Let me ask you this, because sometimes there are older students that come back to get their license. So how were you received as a 21-year-old woman? Yes, you were a mother. Yes, you had almost a decade of experience by then. But how did some of the older students respond to you?
Oh, so that was a hurdle. I learned very early, do not tell your age. I made that mistake once, and it took a while for me to be able to bounce back because it automatically challenges you. They challenge you on everything that you say.
You're young enough to be my daughter.
Exactly. I heard it almost every single day. I'm like, but yet I'm your instructor, so I need you to treat me as such. Even when parents used to come in, they would come in and greet me, and then they look around and be like, okay, where's your teacher?
Where's
and I'm like, it's me. So that was challenging. So I learned my lesson, and I never told my age. Even to this day, I don't tell my age because it's still a challenge. So outside of the age, can I be transparent?
Oh, absolutely.
Yes, please.
We love that.
That's what we do here.
Yeah, it's the age that's a struggle getting over. And then outside of that, it's my race. And outside of that, it's me being a woman. So you put all of those in one melting pot, it's a lot.
So do you find that I'm just curious, in the industry, are there more male instructors then? Because I would assume all the stylists I've been to are female and Black, to be quite honest. So I've just assumed that there would be plenty.
There aren't a lot of male instructors, to be honest. But whenever we find one, even me now in the position I'm in, I love to have male instructors. They just bring a different authority and vibe into the environment. Women respond differently naturally to men. And so, no, there's not a lot of male instructors, to be honest. There's a lot of men stylists, but even in that arena, I feel like women prefer, or it's just a different interaction with a male stylist versus a woman stylist. You always see it, you can feel it. It's just a difference.
Can we go back and unpack a little bit when we talked about being a woman, being Black, and being young, and being in the industry? And so kind of talk about how you've seen that really not necessarily determine, but kind of color how you've been able to evolve and those things. Just give us a little bit more detail.
So you see bits of that as far as the challenge and the hurdles getting over it as a salon owner. People taking you seriously, people not trying to run over you or take advantage of you, negotiate your prices, kind of just really mishandle you because they look at your age as you're you're not wise.
You don't deserve this because you're too young, or you're
right, or they just feel like
okay.
they can handle you any kind of way. But I really got an eye opener once I moved up the corporate ladder to director of education and assistant director and now executive director. I became an ED when I was 33.
Wow.
And
congratulations. That's fantastic.
Yes, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you. But working in a mixed environment, and like you said, with now you're over people that truly are old enough to be your mom, and now you have to coach and redirect, and that is very hard. Well, it's hard, but I'm good at separating my emotions. I've remained very stoic. I understand that people perceive assertiveness from us. They try to label it as attitudinal or aggressive. And you have to just live in the mindset of, this is not personal. This is coming from this is their image of me. But as long as I have a good work ethic and spiritually I'm doing everything correctly, I don't allow it to bother me.
Stay true to yourself.
Yeah.
So I want to move in a little different direction because I find it fascinating. You specialize in Trichology.
Yes.
And I want you to explain what that is for our listeners, and curious what led you to pursue the certification in Trichology, and how does it deepen the way that you serve your clients and students?
Okay, so I dived into Trichology when I was a salon owner. I'm a Trichology practitioner. There's 3 different levels. Trichology is the study of the hair, skin, and scalp. So we specialize in hair rejuvenation. So anybody that's suffered any type of alopecia, hair loss, whether it's traction, universalis, we can sculpt the scalp with dials. Universalis, yeah.
So traction, my braids are too tight, my weave is too tight, okay. And then what was the final one?
Alopecia areata is basically spots throughout the head, just different patches. Universalis or universal is when you lose hair all over your entire body.
Okay.
So no lashes,
learning,
no brows. Okay.
Okay.
Wow.
Yep. But we can pretty much identify what's causing the alopecia. And if we can catch it, now some things we can't treat, especially when it's universal, we can't treat that. But if it's things like traction alopecia or areata, if we catch it within the first 5 years, there's certain, minoxidil, which is an oral, prescription, or even the laser therapy. If we catch it in 5 years, we can possibly put those hair follicles back in the anagen stage, which is hair growth.
Okay.
And what I wanted to do, or what I did, was when opening a salon, I wanted to be different from my competitors. I wanted to be able to do something for women more than just give them a sew-in, more than just offer them a wig. I wanted to actually correct what was causing hair loss. And that's how I got into Trichology.
And so the laser, so obviously I think probably a lot of people have heard of minoxidil, so medication, but the laser therapy, is that something that you do in the salon?
It was something else. So I'm not in a salon anymore, but it was something that I offered, yes, to those clients. Yep.
Okay. So, but very important to recognize that for those that are listening, if they have, problems within the first, 5 years, and do you also advise, particularly, I guess, for those for universalis, to seek the advice of a physician as well, or a provider?
Yes, if it's universal, I would definitely say find a dermatologist that can help with that and speak to it. There's certain, dermatologists, it's very interesting. A lot of people go to dermatologists for scalp issues, and it's kind of limited knowledge there, even though the same skin that's here is the exact same, but the way you treat it is differently. So yeah, if you do have universal alopecia, I would say go to a dermatologist. If it's something like your hairline is thinning, it's patches, that could be something that you're doing as far as hair care and maintenance.
Okay. Thank you.
And certainly you mentioned having your own salon and being an entrepreneur. That's certainly fantastic. You closed your salon in 2020. Can you talk about how you made that pivot? And was it COVID, or what was it that said, okay, it's time for me to move forward?
It was burnout. That's the best way I could put it.
Yeah.
And it was burnout because at this time I have now 3 kids. And I always had my salon in conjunction with being an educator. So I did both.
So you basically had 2 jobs plus
and
mommy
3 jobs.
and partner, all those things. Okay.
Everything.
Yes, you were burned out.
I was burnt out, and I was like, okay, which route do I need to take for my family and, just stability. And at that time, I was still climbing the corporate ladder. So I said, you know what? I'm going to let this go for a second. I can always go back to it. I can do this with my eyes closed.
Right.
Let's see what waits for me in this arena. So I chose to pursue corporate.
Can you share with our listeners what burnout looked like for you? Certainly for some people, they're not sleeping, their patience is really short, they've gained weight. What is it? What did burnout look like for you?
All the things that you just said. So very low on patience. I can't I can't hear. My kids need my attention. I don't have it to give to them. Always tired, never really sleeping or resting. So my mind is constantly going. I'm constantly thinking 100 different directions, and I really can't finish or give my attention to the things that need it the most. You're just being stretched. You're stretched and pulled. And, success is not busyness. Just because you have your hands in a lot of different things.
Say that again.
Say that again.
Success is not busy work. So just because you have your hands and you got all these different things going on, if you can't accomplish it, if it's not, you're not meeting deadlines, if you're not really pushing it along, you're just busy. That's it.
The hamster on the hamster wheel. So for our listeners, you've identified that it was burnout. Can you tell us, if you recall, what made you realize that you were burnt out? And then what were the steps you took to get out of it? Other than just closing your practice, you wanted to see what else awaited, but what was the process like?
I identified it when I think I realized at some point that I was never available for my kids. When they were having events or things at school, I was always asking my mom, my sister, my brother, can you pick them up? Can you take them? And although I was able to financially provide, they didn't want for anything, I was never available. So that bothered me the most.
Bothered you.
And then as far as burnout, I'm self-aware. So I'm aware of my mood swings and never being able to listen and always kind of wanting, okay, you guys be quiet, just give me a second. And, you're kind of pushing them away. So I also realized that that's the space I was living in. And for me, I thought I was doing everything I needed to as a mom, a single mom, to make sure that they were okay. But there's an emotional component and visibility that your children need, more so than tangible things.
Right. So you were providing, and they had all the things. They had a safe living environment and food and clothing and the latest phone and all that stuff. But as far as you being mentally present and being there, that's okay.
And you know what that also causes? Because I have older daughters. I saw myself forcing them to raise up or grow up and be a lot more mature at 3rd grade and 5th grade, because they have to be self-sufficient, And I was pushing them, okay, you gotta conquer this. You gotta learn how to unlock the door. Look out for your little sister. It's kind of like I'm forcing them to raise themselves because I'm not visibly there. And I didn't like that as well.
And so I think it's important for you and listeners, all of us, to recognize that when you are a busy professional, there are sacrifices that we make, and some deal with those sacrifices in different ways. And I, like you, when I got so busy where I felt like I was not being emotionally available to my kids, that's when I realized I needed to make a change. I don't necessarily think that it's a bad thing to be doing all the things.
Right.
But if you get to that point where you recognize a deficiency in what you're able to provide, and that's bothering you, that's when you need to, take stock and take inventory to determine what's still working for you. Thank you for sharing that. Appreciate your transparency.
Yes, ma'am.
And as an educator, can you tell us maybe one lesson that you try to instill in every student that you teach, whether it's in cosmetology or just in life in general?
I'll say one thing that I always find myself repeating is, just because your location changes, it doesn't change who you are. So And I say that to them because they come in displaying themselves one way, you know, the character, personality, work ethic, professionalism. And they always say, and I always ask them, are you going to be like this in your salon? Like, are you going to show up an hour late, no communication? Or
oh, wow.
You know, are you going to treat your guests this way? Is this how you're going to communicate? Is this how you're going to problem solve? And then their response is always, no, because then I'll be getting paid. You know, I'm working at that point, you know, I'm getting paid for what I do. And I'm like, just because your location changes, it does not change who you are. Like the habits, the way that you deal with people, your respect, you know, your respect for yourself and your business. I always say that to them.
Definitely.
That reminds me of it. Do one thing is how you do everything.
It is.
Yes.
It is.
Do anything.
Yeah. I'm probably have butchered that one.
That is very true.
But that actually is a wonderful transition because you are a soon-to-be published author of the book Girlhood Math, Predicting the Woman You're Becoming. So what do you hope that, tell us about the book, what inspired you to write the book, and then what the take home is, what you want people to get out of it.
Okay. It's interesting I wrote this book. For one, I'm not a reader by nature.
Okay.
That's not my thing.
You just love
the honesty.
Okay.
Yes.
It's not my thing, right? I will read for knowledge when I'm doing something business-wise, but just to sit down and get a book, but so I'm spiritual also. Let me say that I'm very spiritual. So for everything in life, everything is connected to God for me. So being behind the chair was ministry. Being in the classroom was ministry. Trichology was ministry. This book.
So how? Tell us how being a hairstylist is your ministry.
A lot of women talk. They open up to their stylist. That's their session to get it all out. Yes. And a lot of times when I'm, you know, I am an introvert. It may not seem like it right now, but I'm very quiet. But when they're talking, I can kind of read in between the lines of things they're not saying. And if I always ask for permission. I'm like, well, do you give me permission to respond, or do you just need a listening ear? I never give advice.
I love that.
I don't give advice, but I would just try to get them to see other sides of things.
Perspective, yes.
Right. Perspective, because perspective is everybody's reality. However they see it, that's what's real to them. Confidence is a moment to love somebody who doesn't think that they're beautiful, you know, being able to, I've given away so many free hairstyles and color just because I wanted to make somebody's day. I know some women, that's when it comes to salon, that's their interaction for the day. They go home. They may not have anybody to hug them or love on them or give them something. So that was ministry for me.
That's beautiful. Thank you.
That is, we all know it. Our stylists can be our therapists at times. And so I definitely value the ministry that you say, but it points to the fact that it was a calling for you.
And I interrupted you because you were telling us about Girlhood Math, predicting the woman you're becoming. So tell us how you came to write the book.
It was this past summer, actually. My kids were gone, and I just felt like I had this story to tell, and I still didn't get it all out, but I tried to keep the focus in this book. And again, my ministry is typically young women. So that's anywhere from middle school to young adulthood. And I'm like, okay, I just need everybody to understand, because I'm still very young. I need everybody to understand that the future is not some far off version of you. If you want to know what your future looks like, look at the decisions you're making right now. And you could tell what your future will look like. Of course, we can't control every variable, but there are some things that are really based on your choices. So, and I'm always talking to my daughters about, for every action, there is a reaction. Every decision you make, there's going to be a response. And my daughter is now 18, my oldest, and I've just watched her through the years. And I'm like, dang, if I could have just been where you were at 13, 14, 15, all throughout the years, I would have been just so much further in life. So
then you wouldn't be you, and you wouldn't have the stories, the knowledge to share. I'm just saying.
Touche, and I don't regret any decision, but my life is really a testimony, and I wanted to put it in a book and really speak to women in the masses, young girls in the masses. And I'm very unfiltered and unapologetic. I'm like, I need to be real with y'all because I wish somebody would have been real with me.
Okay. Love that part and can definitely identify with that. So the book that we wrote, The Game Plan, A Woman's Guide to Becoming a Doctor and Living a Life in Medicine, one of our authors, she too said that she doesn't read.
Wow.
But clearly she reads a lot, but she just, it's not something that she does for like her pastime. So I found that funny. But I think we all came from a point of, we wish we had known this. And I think when in writing a book, it's similar. You just want to pass on anything that you can to those coming behind you. But if we hadn't gone through what we went through, you haven't gone through what you went through, how does someone else learn? So it is those life lessons, if you can evaluate them and then say, oh, okay, if it had gone a different way, perhaps I wouldn't have had this happen to me. I think that's valuable if we can just get the young people to listen. And since you are, as you say, still young, that is valuable in and of itself. I would imagine being able to identify with some of those younger readers. And what are your daughters saying about the book?
They're excited. They were very shocked. They was like, "You wrote a book?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I did." And, and I put them in it. I let them read the intro, and they were very proud and very,
nice.
My oldest is in the intro. So she was just like almost in tears, like, "Oh my God." Yeah. So they're happy. I'll be really excited when it launches, which hopefully will be at the end of this year.
All right.
That's beautiful.
Well, please let us know when Girlhood Math, Predicting the Woman You're Becoming, when it gets published, and then we can definitely pass on to our listeners where they can buy the book. You've spoken about breaking stereotypes. You talked about being a woman, a Black woman entrepreneur, a youthful entrepreneur. What are some of the most common stereotypes that you've encountered, and how did you then kind of combat them or break the mold?
Well, I can tell you one that just came to my mind. The first stereotype that I heard from a family member was, I got pregnant with my daughter when I was a senior in high school, and I heard it because they said it right in front of me, and of course they trickled through the family. She's not going to graduate from high school. She's not going to go to college. She's not, be prepared to take care of her the rest of your life. It was that stigma that was put on me. My stubbornness and I was called, what did my mom always call me? Bullheaded. It works for my advantage.
I'm going to call you persistent.
Right. But I heard it. And because I heard it, I said, well, I'm going to prove you just because you said that, So that was the first stereotype. And of course, it continued because I made mistakes.
You're human, right? We all make mistakes, right?
Yes.
Okay.
We all make mistakes. We're all human, but it's just people are, I call them magical. They forget that you are a human who's making mistakes. You're not perfect. I could point the finger back as many times as you pointed at me. That's not my nature. But, people love it's not them, it's you. So let me talk about your flaws and everything that you do. Another stereotype that I feel like I've broken, I would just say my success. And it's all because of God. It is because I have a supportive family. If my mom wasn't my mom, I don't know. Life maybe.
Tell us your mom's name. Oh, can we say your mom's name on the podcast? Yes.
Absolutely. My mom's name is Linda Coleman.
All right, Miss Linda.
Let's talk about a strong woman, just a rock. And I tell my daughters, I'm like, hey, I'm not Linda. Don't make these decisions. I live in that reality, but my mom is so supportive, and her ministry is just caring for people. She's a nurse, but you see that care just through friends everywhere. She's just a rock in so many people's lives, and her strength and what she has shown just raising me, I've carried that in raising my kids.
Let's go back to that 21-year-old self. And normally we're thinking about somebody that's kind of just getting started, but you're already on the fast track there. But if you could go back and sit down with the 21-year-old Vee, what advice would you give her about the journey ahead?
What advice would I give 21 version of me? Slow down. Slow down. I would just tell myself to slow down. Life is not, life is important. The way you make decisions are important, but it's not a race. You don't have to have everything right now. You don't have to have, I was in a rush, to be honest, to get married because I had 2 daughters. So I was like, oh my God, I need a husband. I want them to see what a family dynamic looks like. And rushed into that was the worst decision I've ever made. It would just be to slow down. And yes, make great choices. Yes, continue to pursue your career, but live in the moment. Be present.
I love that.
Yeah.
I just heard a podcast as much. I do a lot of listening to podcasts, and this Harvard professor, she talks about mindfulness, but just living in this moment right here, and being mindful of what you're doing right here and now instead of always projecting down the line, I think would be valuable to a lot of us in different aspects of life. So good advice to that young one. Slow down, live in the moment.
May I ask one more
while preparing for the future,
though? For our listeners.
Yes.
When you got married, did you know on your wedding day that this isn't, maybe I shouldn't be doing this? Did you have an inkling?
Yep, I heard no, loud and clear.
Okay, okay. That's all I wanted to get out. Yeah,
I heard it loud and clear.
Okay.
Yep. And I was just scared. I was scared because people were already there. I was scared because I was already in my dress. And I did not know how to walk away in that moment. But I heard no as loud as I hear as you all's voices right now. And I was petrified. Wow. And I went through with it just because I'm here.
And you spent all that money and the people. Yeah, no, I get it.
Right.
I get it.
I get it too.
Yeah. But
what do you tell that person in that moment?
Walk away. Because you don't know what you're walking into. That no is obviously there for a reason. That's the difference between jittery feet. I'm just nervous versus you're about to make a mistake. This is a bad decision. And it took me 5 years to realize how bad of a decision that was. And that 5 years to get out of it. But then it was also 4 years later of turmoil that was connected to it. And I'm like, God, if I would have but I would never gotten my son. So I still don't regret it.
Yeah.
But it is important to listen.
I'm going to follow up on, because Sylvia asked the question, we went down the road, is maybe as women just giving permission to those other women in our lives that it's okay to rethink your decisions. And it is okay to walk away. I'm not going down the path of, how you decide to do that.
Right.
But when you are feeling those feelings, to take that inventory and stop and be mindful of why you feel that way.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Got into a lot more than hair today.
I know.
We did.
This is great.
Thank you.
Can you share with our listeners how you practice self-care? You mentioned early on, certainly you're an educator, you're the executive director, if I'm not saying that incorrectly, you're a mom, you're a daughter. How do you pour back into yourself because you pour into so many people?
I definitely know how to slow down now. I'll tell you that. When I'm tired, I take a day off. I'm like, you know what? That business was there before me. It's going to be there after me. I'm taking a day off.
Mental health day.
Definitely. I will go to a 24-hour spa. I communicate with my children. So that's a difference for me. I tell my kids when I'm tired, I'm tired. I need a second. Just give me 1 hour and I'm going to come back around you guys. And they respect it. They understand. What else do? I do retail therapy.
I'm not mad about that.
I do retail therapy. But I can put where I am in life, I can connect it to a season. I'm very, like I said, I'm spiritual, so I pray all the time. So if I can understand the season I'm in, I can understand what's going on around me. And then I know how to handle myself within that season. But yes, I take days off unapologetically.
That's great. Love that. Love the idea of just telling, the kids, and for that matter, it could be anyone, your significant other, I just need an hour. And not feeling guilty, and actually being proud of the fact that you're modeling that for them. Because sometimes our communication is just so much better if we can just take the time to have our space, be mindful.
Right.
And separate yourself. So wonderful. Well, if you don't mind, we'd love to end with some rapid fire questions. They're very easy. It's kind of yes or no, whatever is on top of mind.
Okay, shoot.
Okay. So favorite hair tool you can't live without?
Blow dryer.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Pressing comb or flat iron?
Flat iron.
These are funny. Okay. Finger waves or roller set?
Roller set.
Love a good roller set.
All day, yes.
Celebrity hair that you'd love to style.
Yolanda Adams.
Oh, that's beautiful. Okay. That's a good one. I like that. Hair trend you'd wish would go away?
Frontals.
What's a
I don't know what a frontal is.
A frontal.
A frontal. Oh, I know what a frontal is. Yes.
I don't know what a frontal is. Oh, someone can tell me off screen. Go-to song that always boosts your mood.
That always boosts my mood.
Or artist.
Fred Hammond, Bless.
That's a nice one. And one word that describes the woman you're becoming.
Oh, that's a hard one.
Sorry.
That describes the woman I'm becoming.
Or give us 3, whatever you want to do.
Spirit-led.
Okay. Spirit-led. Okay. Love that. Beautiful. Well, thank you so much, Vee. You have offered our listeners a whole rainbow of things that we've gone through, from living life as a young child, being inspired, to what led to some burnout, and maybe some life lessons that you would have, or life thing that you would have done differently, but then prompted you to write your book. So without those things, we would have never known what's coming in your book. And we love all the things that you offer for women and your passion behind what you're doing. So we wish you all the best. And certainly, if you have anything that you'd love to add to our listeners at this time, and definitely how people can reach you, would be wonderful.
Okay, well, I haven't established my social media handles right now. Those will come later this year along with the book. But just remember, put God first in everything you do. Just pray, seek understanding, or whatever it is that you believe in. Just seek understanding on that level, and everything around you will make sense. And be unapologetically you. Just live for you. Be you, and allow others to accept you for who you are. That's it.
Vee Caldwell, we thank you. Our listeners thank you. And you told us at the very beginning that you were going to be transparent, and you held up your end of the bargain. We are so grateful that you were here with us today. And thank you from Boss Leap.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I enjoyed it, you guys, so much.
All right. And until we meet again, Vee, may you be well.
You too. Bye.
Sylvia, what an awesome interview with Vee Caldwell. We had such an amazing time. She shared her life from really starting her career at age 13 until where she is now, as a mother, author, entrepreneur, doing all the things, educator, and just loved everything she had to say. I think most of the pearls she dropped herself, so I don't know that we'll go on and on.
Agreed. She's probably the most transparent guest that we have had.
Agreed.
All of our guests have been authentic,
Absolutely.
but she was so transparent.
Yeah, love that. So tell me, what did you take away?
I'm just going to shout out my mom. Willie Dale Allen Morris. Vee talked about her mother, Linda Coleman, and the importance of mothers and how they support us. And, you know, they are the iron or the steel in our spines. So I just want to be thankful for our moms, and in particular, my mom.
Oh, I think that's beautiful. So I can't end that without shouting out my mother, Beatrice Barnes, who remains today as a very strong presence for me, and reminds me to live life to the fullest and to enjoy it now, and to do all the things I can to make myself as healthy as I possibly can. So I love that, your sentiment. So I think I'll end on that as well. I think the last thing that I took from Vee is to slow down. She was telling her 21-year-old self that, and it's very hard when we're at that stage in life. But I received it right now. And I'm, in that moment of trying to be mindful about where I am right now, living in the gain, enjoying this very moment, still planning for the future, but not necessarily living just for the future, living for right now. And so I'm grateful for this episode. I am grateful to you. We are certainly very grateful to our listeners, and we hope that you will continue to like, subscribe, and share with your friends, anyone you feel like may enjoy or get something from this episode or any of our other episodes. You can reach us at bossleap, LEAP, podcast.com. And you can go to YouTube at Boss Leap Podcast. And definitely, we would love for you to share any ideas that you have, anything that's working for you. And if you, again, might share it with others, we hope that you would do so. And until we meet again, may you be well.
May you be well.
That's a wrap on another episode of Boss Leap. May this conversation enlighten your path toward personal growth and professional empowerment. For more thought-provoking and eye-opening discussions like this one, head to our website at bossleappodcast.com. Always remember to celebrate your wins and trust yourself. A positive mindset can push you out of your comfort zone and into far greater heights. Until next time, may you be well.
Before we go, there's one more thing the lawyers have asked us to include. It's the legal language, and you know how doctors love lawyers. This podcast is presented only for educational and entertainment purposes. Although we are doctors, on this show, we are just your friends. This podcast is not intended as a substitute for the advice of your physician, professional coach, psychotherapist, or other qualified professionals. Understood? Awesome. We'll see you in the next episode.